Well, good morning everybody and welcome back to It's Only Food. Today we are going to be making chicken stock. You're not going to want to miss this one. Alright, well welcome back to It's Only Food. Like I said, today we're making chicken stock. The three components that we're going to be using in this dish are basically the chicken bones, water, and of course our Mirepoix. And also make sure that when you're cooking your stock that you use a pot, or if you don't have a steam jacket kettle like a lot of kitchens do, make sure you're using a stock pot because you want something that's taller than it is wide. That way you get the convection action going when it boils to bring up all the debris and all the dirt and all the stuff that you don't want in your stock. Convection action will push it to the top where you can use a skimmer to skim it all off the top, keeping your stock nice and clear, and it will also transfer into your flavor too as well. So just remember not to use and if you use a smaller squat pot that's not a stock pot like this, you're going to end up having everything simmer. It will still rise to the top, but when it simmers like that and goes up, all it does is evaporate, and you're not really getting that action that you want to get everything to be flush to the top. So sorry to interrupt everybody. I'm in the middle of editing the show and I realized there's like a scene missing, so I just wanted to throw this in there because it's a very integral part of the video. So when you start out with the bones, you want to make sure that the bones smell good, they look clean, they're not slimy. Rinse them off if you have to, but you want to have a starting point with some bones that smell good because that will be released into your flavor too. So you want to have some fresh bones. Also, start with a cold pot, cold water, and your bones are cold too. Never put everything into the hot boiling water. What you want to do is you want to start everything out in the pot, add cold water to it, and let it come up to a boil. Never just put everything in after it's boiling. You want it all to come up to temp at the same time. And then just leave enough room at the top of your pot after the water's in there so you can skim all the debris. That's it. Let's go back to the video. Thanks. And all right, just remember that we're making a chicken stock, or what we call a chicken stock, or a basic simple stock. There are brown stocks that you use where you actually brown the bones in the oven, and then you add all your Mirepoix and do that. And then you've got your white stock, which you blanch the bones, and then you have a fumet where you take your bones and stick them in a pot, cover them with aromatics, and then smother them and cook them like a braise. And then that creates a whole different flavor profile too because of all those aromatics in there and the way that it's done. So were you doing a chicken stock or a quick, simple stock? All right, well we're at a boil now, so I've turned it down. You can already see that we've got a lot of debris on there. It's all in the pot because I forgot about it and let it overboil. You can see the legs in there. It is got to the boiling point and I've turned it down to simmer. We'll let that go for about an hour before we add our Mirepoix. All right, now's the part where we add the Mirepoix, and basically I'm so old I can remember when we used to just take the vegetables like the carrots and celery, break them in half, throw them right into the pot, cut the onion in half, skin and all, throw in the pot. Times are different, or I'm just doing it right now, but we've got three different kinds of Mirepoix here. We've got just the vegetables, like I said, and you want to make sure that you're scrubbing or peeling these to make sure that they're clean as you can possibly get them, because you're going to be skimming off a lot of that debris that comes off the vegetables. If you don't, you can remember when we talked about in the Mirepoix show about the scraps and stems. I basically would use these for just a vegetable stock, or otherwise you're going to be skimming a lot as well, because it is just the scraps and that's where most of the dirt and debris is. We're going to use this bias cut Mirepoix that I've got here because we're letting this stock simmer for about 4 hours, and you don't want, you want to cut it a little bigger than a dice because it's going to break down and get all mushy if you don't. And you're on simmer, so if you just cut, about this size, depending on the time that you're simmering, because you don't want the vegetables to break down and become part of the liquid and get mushy and all that, because then we are going to strain it, but we just don't want them to get too mushy. And also remember to take the skins off of your onion when you do it, because you don't want the color to change, unless you do want the color to change, but it'll also change the color profile of the flavor profile, of the color profile is different too as well. So just remember that. But always take off your skin, because that will make your stock a darker color, and you want more of a clear straw color to your stock, as we'll see when we get to the end of this video. And make sure when you're skimming your stock that you use a spider or some sort of sieve on a stick, and then use a bowl with some water in it or something to clean that off so you're not putting all the debris back into the stock again when you're done with it. There are two schools of thought when it comes to the reduction of your stock. As you see here, when we started out, we were in between the rivets and the water in the pot, and now it's about a 1/4 of an inch to an inch down below that. There are two schools of thought on that it's okay to do it because you want to reduce it even more and more, but that also increases the gelatinous consistency, which is okay for the later uses that you're going to have for your stock, and it also will make the flavor stronger. It's up to you, it's your stock, do whatever you want to do. I'm just showing you the basics of how to make one. Now when it comes to seasoning your stock while it's simmering, there's a variety of different ways to do it. You can perfume it with whatever you want to do. I've seen anything from garlic to cloves to whatever, but basically it's parsley, thyme, bay leaf, and some peppercorns. I have got some peppercorns, thyme, and bay leaf here that we're going to perfume our stock with. Usually it's done with a sachet, which is a piece of cheesecloth where fresh herbs are inserted into. It's made into a bundle, tied off, and then put into the stock, and then it can be pulled out when the stock is done. I don't have the luxury of having any cheesecloth, so we're not going to be doing a sachet. We're just going to add the herbs to the stock, and then we will skim them out, either skim them out, or when we do the last process of draining it all through a sieve to get our clear stock, they will just be removed that way. And one of the reasons we use bones, whether we're roasting them or blanching them or boiling them, is because the bones that we use are the large knuckle bones, like the chicken that we've got in there. And the knuckles have a lot of that collagen, and a reason that they use veal to make a lot of these stocks is because the younger animals have more collagen. Now the protein collagen is what makes the stock have a rich flavor and a rich foundation, and then when it cools it actually should solidify a little bit. Alright, so our stock is done. I'm going to strain it into this pot with this sieve here. I don't, like I said, have any cheesecloth, but this is a double mesh screen sieve, and it'll try to get out as many of the impurities as we can, but otherwise we're just showing you technique today too. So just gonna, right in there. Okay, I'm gonna take it and just slowly I'm going to save this chicken because I'm going to pull the meat off of it and use it for chicken salad or soup or some other application. But you can see that the Mirepoix is still intact. It is mushy, also very hot, but it didn't dissolve down into the stock and become a vegetable in the stock. We made it a chicken stock. This just helped to add flavor and perfume it with some flavor. Remember, take anything you have in the kitchen that you can use, always use it. I know we're really big into sustainability and everything like that nowadays in the kitchen, but old school ways are that you don't throw anything away, you use everything that you possibly can all the time. So we'll show you what the stock looks like here. It is where we want it to be. It's got a straw-like color. It's got a fantastic smell to it. It still has some of the herbs came through, but this is really good. We're going to cool this off and show you the proper way to do that too. So. All right, now that we've got the stock made, we are going to cool it and put it into our refrigerator for further uses in our soup stocks, possible braises, and maybe rice cookery. So first thing we got to do is cool it down properly, and we're going to go from 135 to 70 in a 2-hour time period, and then we're going to go from 70 to 41 degrees in 4 hours. So what I'm going to do is give this an ice bath in our sink over there, fill it up to ice to about right here, and then we're going to continue to stir it in those time frames. But after that, then we're going to take and put a lid on it with our date, which is October 12th today. And then we're going to label and date it and put it into our cooler. So it's October 12th, 2017. And we have to say what it is too. You have to identify your product. So we're going to put a name on it too. And we're going to call it chicken stock. All right, that's it. Chicken stock from start to finish. All right, well, thanks a lot for joining us today when we showed you how to make stock. Let's do a review on what we learned today. First thing you want to do is you want to take your bones and make sure that they're cold, they're rinsed, they don't smell, and they also go into a cold stock pot with cold water. Everything starts from a cold state, not hot, to where it cooks from the outside in. So start that way. Make sure you leave room at the top with the water, enough room to skim all the debris off the top. Clean your Mirepoix and cut according to size and your time. If you're gonna boil it for a long time, make sure you cut your Mirepoix a little bit bigger or leave it whole like we talked about. But you do not want your Mirepoix to turn into mush by the time the cooking process is all done. Use a tall stock pot for the convection action to get the debris to move up to the top of the pan. Skim as necessary. Perfume it with herbs, probably about an hour into it. We didn't have a sachet today, but we did use just the common herbs, peppercorns, parsley, thyme, and whatever you want to use to perfume your stock. It is your stock, but just remember just to not make it too insane. So do whatever you want to do. Simmer it slowly throughout the whole process after the boil is stopped. Drain through a sieve or a cheesecloth to get all the cloudiness out of it. You want it to be a clear stock with some good flavor, not a lot of cloudiness in it. Always taste it when it's done to make sure that it's done. You might want to add a little salt and pepper to it. Store it in a container for future use. Make sure you label and date the item so everybody knows what it is and when it was made. Make sure you cool it down properly from 135 to 70 degrees in 2 hours, and then from 70 to 41 degrees in 4 hours. And you could do that with a blast chiller, or you could just use a wand with ice in it, or you can put it in an ice bath and stir it continually until it drops down to that temperature in that controlled time. That was all we've got today. Thanks a lot for joining us on It's Only Food. We hope you enjoyed and learned something. It was a pleasure making this for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time right here on It's Only Food. Bye-bye.